everyone, and welcome to Let's Talk Before the Show. In this episode, we'll be going over everything you need to know, learn, and quote, discover about ModGear Season 3. All of the upload schedules that you need to know about, all of the mysterious videos like the ModGear Special and Season Recap, and as well as just episode development as a whole, and what you can expect, as well as series rules. So, with that out of the way, go ahead and drop down the first gear as we discuss what you need to know before the show about ModGear Season 3. To begin, let's just explain, well, the episodes themselves, because clearly I gotta give some basis. ModGear's been going now for 2 seasons, so I guarantee there's a good amount of people that know how the show works, but there has been some people that have joined the channel since ModGear vanished after the end of Season 2 last year. So therefore, I'm just going to go over some explanation as to just how ModGear works as a whole. If you don't know what ModGear is just kind of a blend between Top Gear and the Grand Tour, testing cars in the world of Garry's Mod through various tests to find out which cars are performing better than others, and stuff like that. Think of it as kind of a Garry's Mod rendition of Top Gear-esque. So you're probably wondering, well, how many episodes is there going to be for ModGear Season 3? To recap, Season 1 had a total of 12 episodes, 11 normal episodes plus Season Recap. Season 2 had 17 episodes, 15 normal episodes plus a ModGear Special and Season Recap for a total of 17. Season 3 is going to be a bit smaller. It's actually in between the 2 seasons. Season 3 will have a total of 14 episodes, 12 normal episodes, a ModGear Special, and Season Recap. So, how does a typical ModGear episode work? Because I know there's some people that might have forgotten, there's some people that might not know, so I'll go ahead and explain. Most episodes will typically open with some basic screenshots and then of course our intro. We then move into about a 5-6 minute history lesson of the car of that episode. It's not super long, it's not meant to be super informative, but you figure history lessons were a pretty big deal back in Season 2, so they're coming back for Season 3, and they're going to stay relatively the same as they were last season. After the history lesson, we then move into actual testing for the cars themselves, getting into things like a top speed test, a brake test, a cornering test around the Forksville test circuit. We also do a parallel park test, followed by the gravel road segment, the bump test, the slalom test. We also do a fuel test, because we gotta do fuel as well, and then of course, to round off the testing as a whole, a lap of the Futaro circuit. From there, we then move into a very special segment of the episode. And this is where things like swearing and all that just kinda has no bounds, and that is the Star Showdowns. Star Showdowns are basically one-on-one car races from point A to point B, and most of these tests will incorporate the car's strengths or weaknesses. For example, you might have a car that's better in cornering in small corners, but doesn't really do great in top speed. So therefore, a Star Showdown might encompass that you might catch your enemy in the corners, but you lose on the straights, and that's how you lose the race. While your other opponent might also have your advantages in top speed, he might also have horrible brakes, so you might be able to catch him if you try to have to stop for, say, I don't know, an elderly woman or something. After that Star Showdown comes to its close, and we go to the outro. But aside from that, that's how a typical ModGear episode is going to work for Season 3. Now though, I get to explain a little bit more of the interesting parts of Season 3 and kind of just ModGear as a whole, and that is the ModGear Special and ModGear Season Recap. I'll start with the ModGear Special, because that's pretty straightforward. If you've seen shows like Top Gear, and more recently, the Grand Tour, you'll probably know that, all the boys, Jeremy Clarkson, Richard Hammond, James May, they'll randomly go out and do these specials, or more recently with Season 4 of the Grand Tour, they'll randomly just go to places, getting from point A to point B with maybe one car or maybe like a group of cars. Maybe they'll have some challenges along the way. A great example of this is from the ModGear Special in Season 2 with the Lancia Delta. Yes, we had to get from one point in the middle of a desert back to Forksville, but we had to do several challenges along the way, like a street race, or trying to cross a pond, or trying to do a cornering test through some windy roads. That's kind of the idea of what a ModGear Special is. It's technically a typical ModGear episode, it's just more of an open world feeling, getting from point A to point B while incorporating most or all of ModGear's core challenges and testing into the mix. Most likely, the ModGear Specials typically premiere about halfway through the season, so most likely it'll premiere sometime between episode 6 and 7 of the series. And now moving on to ModGear Season Recap. Season Recap usually premieres after the last episode of the show premieres, which in this case will be episode 12. By that point, all 12 episodes along with the ModGear Special will have premiered at that time. So most likely, you could probably expect the season recap to premiere either towards the end of July or early August, considering where ModGear is actually going to be premiering, and considering how long it'll be premiering for, which in this case is 14 weeks. Season recap is kind of like an awards segment. It's giving awards based on certain trophies and accomplishments to certain cars of the season. From there, we kind of go to an outro and all that, and then of course the actual seasonal outro. And anywhere between like a 4 to 8 minute extravaganza showing all of the credits and special songs for the show itself. And possibly a tease, depending on if ModGear wants to get another season or not. But that just kind of covers the video segment of ModGear as a whole. There'll be 14 total episodes, 12 normal, legitimate episodes, followed by a 13th episode, in this case, the ModGear Special, and the 14th and final episode, ModGear Season Recap. Anyway, let's move on to the actual upload schedule itself. What is ModGear's upload schedule, and when can you expect it to go live? Well, following the original similar upload schedule that ModGear's had over the course of its last 2 seasons, ModGear will start premiering on May 14th of this year, on Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. From there, ModGear will then premiere every week on Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, or if you live on the eastern United States, it'll be 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. One of the biggest things that's changing for Season 3, comparatively to Season 1 or 2, is that when ModGear goes out, it will always be a YouTube premiere. And the reason why I'm doing this is to kind of make it so that ModGear has some kind of significance. That ModGear's growing up in the world, and considering that we're partnering with Horizon Colorado to make Season 3 the biggest season yet, it would make a lot of sense that it would be a YouTube premiere. So hopefully you're there when those premiere, because they're going to be premiering live. It's going to be great. What about the series rules? Because even though ModGear is a big deal series, ModGear still has to follow some basic form of rules. The first major rule is that ModGear will contain swearing. It's the only series premiering throughout the entirety of 2021 that will contain it. And the only place you're going to find swearing in the actual episodes themselves are probably going to be only in Star Showdowns. As for things like the ModGear Season Recap and the ModGear Special, it's quite unknown how swearing is going to interact with those videos, but Season Recap probably won't have any, but ModGear Special, it probably will, but it's unknown as to how it'll be executed. One of the other big restrictions, or series rules as a whole, that stayed with ModGear from Season 2 and is carrying over to Season 3 is the 20 to 30 minute restriction. If you don't know what this is, it basically just makes it so that all ModGear episodes, regardless if it's a season recap or a ModGear Special or a typical episode, has to meet a minimum time of 20 minutes long, but it can't be over 30 minutes long. This just makes it so that ModGear feels more like a normal television show. Makes it feel more like a normal cartoon episodes, as most cartoon episodes range anywhere between 22 to 25 minutes-ish. So therefore, putting ModGear in that kind of substance would be good. One of the other things that's definitely going to be a restriction is All-Star Showdowns have to be at least 3 minutes long, but no longer than 6. There was definitely some issues with custom bits from Season 2, with some bits being a bit shorter than others, and others being very longer than others. Therefore, I just want to make sure that there's always kind of a consistency with Star Showdowns. They're not super long than other Star Showdowns, and there's not other Star Showdowns that are smaller than others. I want to make sure that they're all relatively similar in terms of length, so that way the episodes come out relatively similar in length. But with that basically is a wrap on this Let's Talk Before the Show. So let's just briefly go over everything we talked about in this episode. We briefly discussed, well, the episodes themselves, or the gears themselves. Going over just how ModGear actually works, discussing how a typical ModGear episode will run, as well as explaining what the ModGear Special, and as well as ModGear Season Recap, just giving a brief explanation as to how they work and how they're going to premiere along with the show. Again, there will be a total of 14 episodes this season, comparatively to 17 last season, because again, I want to make sure ModGear premieres through just the summer, from the end of the school year to the start of the next. We also briefly went over the upload schedule, or the upload gears as I call it, for the season itself, saying that it will start premiering on Friday at 1 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on May 14th, and will always be a YouTube premiere, so they'll always be premiering live at any given point. We'll also went over some series rules, just explaining that the 20 to 30 minute restriction from Season 2 is still very much evident for Season 3. And also going over that there will be some forms of swearing, but it will most likely only be during Star Showdowns, so well past most of the episode. And also just saying that all Star Showdowns have to be a minimum of 3 minutes long, but no longer than 6 and maybe 7 minutes. But if you're excited for ModGear Season 3 when it premieres later this year, then definitely make sure you drop a like on this video, and hopefully Season 3 will come out to be ModGear's biggest and best season yet. But that's all for now. My name is PandaPowerSauce. Remember to stay saucy, and we'll see you again on Monday next week for the final Let's Talk Before the Show for Discover and Create. Take it easy, everyone. Later.